Hello friends, Greg Fisher here again. This weekend the Houston Astros won the World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies. There are a number of storylines in this World Series that really struck me. The first is just the story of the underdog. When you look at the Phillies and their record, no one had them in the World Series this year, but somehow they ended up there instead of the mighty Dodgers or the Atlanta Braves. And then on the American League side, to have Houston in the World Series instead of the big bad Yankees was a pretty cool feat. The role of the underdog is one of the things I love about sports. Teams on paper that should beat other teams. It just doesn't happen all the time. That's why they play the games. That's what makes sports so great. And the thing that the paper or the analytics or the stats can't take into account is the mental fitness of the players and the teams as a collective. It would have been easy for Philadelphia to just be satisfied with making the World Series, even if they didn't even win a game. Listening to sports talk radio heading into the World Series, most pundits weren't giving them much of a chance. Maybe they could win one game. Well, the fact that they won 2 games and took the series to 6 is a testament to how much they believed in themselves and how capable they were. Another storyline that I love is the redemption story. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge Astros fan, and I certainly don't advocate for the cheating or alleged cheating that happened a few World Series ago when they were banging waste cans to indicate pitches and pitch selection and so on. For them, though, having lost their manager, having lost some of the key players in that team, to come back and win a legitimate World Series, you have to tip your hat off to those players for having the resilience to come back from a huge scandal and kind of a black mark on all their names, and now they have some redemption. So I love that storyline. But the one storyline I love the most is the Astros manager, Dusty Baker. I believe 73 years old, becomes the oldest manager to win a World Series. And his first World Series at that, even though he's been managing for decades in the league. And I love his interview at the end when he says, what do we go do now? And he says, party. Anyway, I just love it. I love how, I just turned 50, and the idea that a 73-year-old manager could win the World Series at that age with his passion and love for the game. He could still make a connection with the younger players and lead them to a championship. So hats off to Dusty Baker and the Houston Astros. I think a common thread throughout all these storylines is just the power of thinking, or the power of thought, that determines our outcomes and what we make of our lives or our situations. In all 3 of these stories, whether it's the underdog story, the redemption story, or winning at an old age, it's all about mindset and thinking that you can do it. Not believing the doubters and the skeptics, living in the moment and doing your best and tapping into your innate capabilities and talents, and performing at your very best when it counts the most. As a clarity coach, that's what I attempt to do with my clients, whether they be athletes or parents of athletes. I'm constantly pointing them back in the direction of their innate capabilities and living in the present moment. If you'd like to learn more about my coaching program, visit me at coachingplease.com. Thanks for listening. Now go unleash your potential.